Base has detected a suit. Transponder its coordinates because it's me. Mina will have to head into the east reef to find out. Okay, according to the map data, these caves cut back under the forest. Perhaps there are exposed roots inside. So that's regular reef stalks. And this is sink stock tissue. Here, where strong currents batter the stalk forest, might be a good place to find exposed, damaged sink stalks. Spore catcher egg. This is just to finish up the data entries. Forecatcher movement suggests they nest in the safety of the western stalk forest. Let's investigate. Stalk scraper shell. I saw stalk scrapers here when we crossed the forest. We should search this area for fragments of their shells. Mina's notes mention something called the bloom across the rift, but until we have strong propulsion, we won't be able to cross it. Okay. Okay, how the heck do I... Okay, so I can only go to places like that, which makes sense. Pale sand is unmoving here, but to the north I can see the yawning chasm and strong currents of a wide rift. The stalk is leaking spores from a wide slit. Inside, they are carried across the soft sand by the currents coming from the east reef. Large smooth pebbles sit in the sand, and beyond I can see the suns catching the amber terraces of another stalk forest. I wish it showed me the fucking map so I can know exactly where I'm going. There was two sampling places to the southeast of the way station, and then there were two to the like southwestish direction, and there was one to the northwest. But don't know the exact area. Okay. Guess I'll just keep going. I don't really know exactly where that area was. This future rises steeply toward the jagged edge of the reef, splitting the strong currents like a head of an axe. Were these rifts and canyons really carved by the currents, or are they violent fractures now smoothed by erosion? This pale strata, the pale strata of this rock tells an ancient story. Might there be a fossil record within such rocks, waiting to be discovered? Stalks are noticeably absent from the sides of this northern rift. Why did they leave such a clear buffer zone beside it? Yeah, I think this is probably the way to the other sample places. And then I can always just use the link to go back to the base, look at the general direction of where the other places are, and go there. Central Reef Way Station lies within a bubble of calm, but just to its north, a massive rift brings strong currents through the reef. Passage between these rocks leads out to the howling currents of the northern rift. Outside the shimmering perimeter of the western stock forest, almost nothing lives or grows on this finger of the reef. I'm pretty sure one was the reef, one was the current, which said it was impassable. The northern rift is the largest of the cuts into the central reef. Crossing it without some way of navigating its currents would be suicide. So this is the edge. Impressive, the split in the shelf is incredibly wide and deep. Those currents would smash us against the rocks if we swam out into the flow. We're going to need better equipment if we want to cross that monster. See, that was one of them. It was just something we noticed rather than something to gather. Collects the spores and other organic material whipped past into the current, dragged into the dense stock patches in the west. So you can't. This western side of the finger becomes increasingly enclosed by rocky outcrops as it leads toward shallower water. Metal debris. Looks like Mina had to salvage parts of the base to build what she needed to survive. She must have been here many months before I arrived. Split boulders. Some ruined equipment lies in the shelter of two boulders, an alien way station site, perhaps? Across the open sand, I can see the faint shapes of stock colonies rising up in ordered rows. Patterns of stalks stretch back into the distance. Pathways and terraces of some unknown design. This must be the western stock forest. At the edge of the strange terraces, this underwater forest. At the edge of the strange terraces of this underwater forest, this stock sits like a sentry, armed with a coating of bubbles. Only have enough for one. just a shrill sack. Oh, whatever. And like in the southern reef, the stalks here are ordered in curving rows, tightly packed and evenly spaced. Guess this is it. No, it's not. Bloated growth. This growth is bloated and distended. The panels are tight and bulging outwards, and something between the seams flows within. So between the seams, something flows within. Bloated stalk. These stalks bulge out from their bases. I started logging data on these strange inflated stalks. They look ill. Forming rounded pulsing growths that look discolored and stretched. It's a sample candidate, but I'm trying to take a sample and nothing's happening. To the west, the stalks spread in thick pathways, curving between strangely corroded stones. It's so weird. Is there like something wrong? Lily says a sample. It says sample candidate, and then I don't. It doesn't say sampling available or sample candidate like it does for here. So like a fucking. I feel like that's a. I feel like that's a glitch. These curving avenues of stock seem to mark a loose perimeter around each bloated growth. Why? As they curve south, the stalks meet the rising wall of rocks which shelters the southern reef. That like blocks me out of getting everything. I'm gonna be pissed. pulse can be felt running through the shelf from the north, making the sand ripple small, soft waves. Huh. Cleaning these stalks is a delicate task, and I hope their retraction is temporary, not some terminal state. Oh, I mean, if they're blocking the path, they gotta go. Supposing growth sits in a strangely shaped clearing, what causes the stalks to grow like this? Something I am not seeing here. The membrane of these stalks is thin enough to be translucent in areas, stretched to breaking point by whatever is inside. Yeah, it says sample candidate, and then there's nothing there. Like, why are you telling me I can get a sample and they're not letting me get a fucking sample? These stalks are isolating the bloats, perhaps. It is because they are dangerous to the colony itself. Stalks form a loose perimeter around this growth, which bulges unsettlingly, as if it is about to burst. It'd be easy to become lost in this complex patterns traced by these row of stalks. I wonder where they lead. When alarmed, these stalks burst open, releasing their toxic contents into the local water. Could they be defending themselves? I would assume so if they're doing it as a defense mechanism. Okay, there we go. Okay, this is not good. Did not like the look of that. Toxic microbial colony. So didn't you need to go back and use a freaking shrill sack near all of them? To the west stands the final pathway of stalks before the colony fades out into the sand and rock. The pulsing, pumping rhythm of these stalks' contractions suggests that some process is happening inside of them. Bloats pulse unnervingly as if at any moment they might burst open, choking the water with a microbial cloud. Okay. Let's get out of here. Line stock marks western edge of the colony. In this direction, a rock wall rises up beyond the sandy shelf. The side of the colony loops backwards towards its center, leading deeper between the stalks. Fuck my life. Oof. Loaded stalks seem to be precisely spaced out between the stalks. A way to damaging this colony by disturbing them. We can't really answer any of these questions because we don't know jack shit about them. Some vein or root must run through this spot. As the sand rumbles with unseen movements, are all the bloats connected? Let me run the ad real quick. It's enough data to log and classify these inflated stalks. I'm going to name them reef bloats. Reef bloat. Large bloated stalks that burst easily, expelling the toxic microbes held inside their bodies. Their movements suggest unseen processes. Are you serious, man? These bubble-skinned stalks keep their distance from bloats as if they know the danger they pose to the stalk colonies. Huh. Great, now we have plenty of these microbial colonies. Okay, let's get the fuck out of here. We need to get on with finding that suit transponder. Let's head to the East Reef. The rock behind this growth looks as if it has been melted. The layers whirl in distorted forms, revealing a metallic core. Sat silently among the terraces, the stalk bristles with bubbles waiting to breach at the first sign of a predator. Huh. A small clearing between the avenues of stalks. To the west, their ordered rows dissolve into the south, the chaos of the southern forest. Fragments of a shell, recently shed, glint in the sand like shards of cloudy glass. Creature left these here. Right. Riftbloat Collis tumidus. Riftbloats are large, bloated stalks that can be found at the western border of the reef. Intimidating in their size and distorted shape, they resemble inflated sporing mushrooms covered in nodules of rampant fungal growth. Their membrane, which is stretched by the bloating process to an almost translucent sheen, is darker than a typical stalk, making the stalks themselves a shade of sickly orange. What role the bloats play in the reef stock network is not immediately obvious, but their pulsing, pumping motion suggests that the bloats are either processing or producing the toxic microbes that are contained within their fragile membranes. Without analyzing the microbial colonies themselves, this will be difficult to ascertain. Huh. It was more just to the west now. Just straight to the west, basically. And I'll get the necessary samples to get it in the data entry. And then I'll come back and go straight to the east to try and get as close as possible to the transponder. Large, smooth pebbles sit in the sand. Beyond, I can see the suns catching the amber terraces of another stock forest. There's multiple suns. Yeah, okay, I already saw that then. It's like I have that there, but then like, how do I give it to like I would assume I go to like the way station or something, because there's no way I'm just supposed to have my inventory full. I guess I'll just go back to the way station and try to see if I can put it in. Because when I go to the base, there's nothing in the lab. It doesn't get brought with me. I'm not seeing any like options to. I would assume it'll just be brought in, but I guess not. What am I supposed to do here? Okay, I just started poisoning myself. Thus, I shouldn't have done that. That was dumb. I'm kind of confused as to how I'm supposed to bring it back to the. It says this is biohazard, and this is biohazard in the base as well, but then there's empty, and I just not seeing any like. I would assume it'd be the fucking. Like, where am I supposed to? Am I just gonna have to fucking search this shit up? This is kind of stupid. Like, I'm pretty sure she did not say how to do this. It's not like there's a fucking tutorial. Oh my god, man. Like, I'm fine with not having a tutorial, but like, make stuff reasonably fucking understandable and innovative at least. From what I'm seeing here, supposedly there's a way to do it later on, but like, I don't know why they give you the option of going to these missions and getting the samples if they're not going to tell you how to do it. You at least have some sort of dialogue where it's like, oh, I'm unable to, like, the transit from the way station to the base destroys the samples, or I'm unable to fucking open the sample fucking box in the base because she can't control anything from the suit. So like, it makes sense that she wouldn't be able to grab them or anything. It's like something to indicate that it's something I can do later. And don't even bother talking about the fucking sample missions and just let me go to the kind of do them because I want to do this stuff first because it's side content. I don't know if I get locked out. Then I go, my inventory's full and I can't transfer it. So it's like I got it for the data entry, but you know, the stocks and everything, like, they come back, they refill. I can get infinite shrill sacks. And from what I was looking at, even the bloated sacks, they come back as well. So it's like, it's not that crazy. But the other ones, it's part of an animal. I don't know if those are infinite. I don't know if those come back. So let me go up first. This one is saying that you can click. This is the case, then I'm just a bit dumb. No. Okay. Oh, whatever. Wait, are we serious? This was it? No, that's not it. I feel a little bit stupid now. I think that was fully on me. I just never thought to press that for whatever reason. Ah, man. Okay. Analysis of the unique chemical compounds found in stock spores and a wider understanding of how stocks use spores to communicate suggests a more mutual relationship between spore catchers and stocks than initially assumed. Stocks are able to tailor the chemical makeup of their spores. It is possible that the select spores the catcher eat or intended for their consumption contain compounds and minerals attractive to the species. As spore catchers use their color-shifting properties to hide among their stock colonies, it seems increasingly possible that stock colonies and spore catchers are mutualistically linked, and catchers serve the needs of specific stock patches. What those needs are, however, is not yet clear. Analysis of a spore catcher egg, if found, may help us gain a full picture of their physiology. Analysis of stock bark shows that it is chitin-based as suspected, containing glucose and high levels of polysaccharides. This makes it an ideal food source for the scrapers, but not only this, makes stock membranes a vital substance for lichen scraper shell formation. The more stock membrane consumed, the larger and thicker scraper shell will become, which explains the variance in scale, scraper shell size, and translucency. Going further, shells may also be markers of a stock scraper's importance within the community. A larger shell means a more effective grazer and therefore a more preferable partner. Further analysis of scraper shells is needed to continue this line of inquiry. Chemical analysis of a stock scraper shell confirms that not only are they made from stock membrane materials, their distinctive cloudy coloration comes from their stalks too. Stalk coloration, like most fungal coloration, is reflective of local water acidity and the medium the fungus grows in. This variance of amber, orange, yellow, and even green pigments is passed directly to scraper shells when consumed, resulting in beautiful whorls and blobs of color. A scraper shell is a living record of every stock colony it has fed on, and therefore a marker of territory and social standing. Scraper shells could be used to help study the entire reef and its shifting ecosystem, each one a chemical map. What the heck was that? I saw something on the chat. Whatever. Sometimes shit like moves around and I think there's a message or something, but I don't know what the heck it actually is because I don't see anything. Scraper shells can be used to help study the entire reef and its shifting ecosystem, each one a chemical map of the local history, readable for those who can learn the significance of its forms. Huh. Upper shell, leg extension points. For a biologist, she's a really good fucking sketcher. Sketcher, even a thing. Saying sketcher makes me think of the fucking sneakers. Why are sketchers called sketchers? Let me stop fucking thinking. That sketcher just sounds stupid. Artist, she's a better artist than I would assume. Cloud markings, underside, swimming limbs. So, okay, so it's more. And when they say arthropod, they straight up mean arthropod. Like a fucking. What are those things called? I don't even know what they're called. Those fucking. I guess horseshoe crab, but I was thinking more of the primordial thing. Called. Like one of those prehistoric things. He's like, from way back in the day. Trilobite. I think that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Yep. Anyways. Very interesting. Analysis of stock spores has revealed a rich cocktail of compounds unique to each spore, some of which are previously unknown to human chemistry. This aspect of the spores and their noticeable exchange between colonies of stocks suggests that these chemical cocktails are part of an information exchange network. However, some of these spores also appear to be true spores used for the asexual reproduction of stock colonies, suggesting that the information carrying spores are adapted or modified reproductive spores. Analysis also suggests that stock colonies may possess a high level of intelligence and cognition, and that the messaging provided by the spores is nuanced and even subjectively unique to each colony. Patterns across multiple spores from each single colony even suggest a chemical signature possessed by each stock group. Could these be thought of as stock names? Analysis of the stock bark sample has given some new insights into the sing stocks. Their entire biology is compressed into the chitin plates that surround each specimen. They are completely hollow. In fact, rather than being a single large stalk, sing stalks are actually many spirally entwined stalks, which weave together to form a pillar-like shell. Scraping of these stalks as they move against one another produces the stalk's harmonic hum, which may not be a form of communication with other colonies, as first thought, and instead a kind of metronome, and kind of internal metronome, there to synchronize the movements of each individual stalk within the weave of stalks. But if the sting stalks are the bark that surrounds them, this brings with it a new question. What do sting stalks contain? Further analysis is needed. Laboratory analysis of the microbial colonies found within the reef floats, spark colonies as I've come to call them, shows that these microbes are not of a group typically associated with stock colonies. In fact, spark colonies appear to be made up of highly modified algae with a wide metabolic range, able to consume carbon dioxide, oxygen, metal, and toxic compounds with equal ferocity when supplied with a source of light. When metabolizing these substances, spark colonies produce a regular flow of charged electrons, making them ideal for use within a microbial fuel cell, or MFC. The suitability for this use is suspicious. Are these really naturally occurring microbes? And why are they found only within reef floats? Something isn't right here. Okay, let's head out. See, I want to get the rest. It's funny because it's still showing. I'm guessing the bigger the bubble around the thing shows how many there are, or how important they are. I haven't got the spore catcher egg, so I'll try to get that, and I'll try to keep at least one or two. I don't know if the amount of things analyzed changes how much information you get, but I would kind of assume so. See, I'll get, because what I analyzed, like, yeah, I analyzed 3 of those, but only is one of the stock barks. And one of the clouded shells. So I'll just go and get whatever. Let me just start the ad. I'll just run the ad, and then I'll go get the egg and some of the shell sacks, and then put them in the lab. Well, I'll just go back right away instead of wasting time. Let's just go back right away. I'm like right there. Shrill-sac laboratory analysis shows that they are formed from a coating of mucus sealed around a pressurized mix of oxygen and carbon dioxide. The oxygen shows that the signal stalks are able to absorb oxygen from the surroundings, perhaps through their large pores. Meanwhile, the CO2 must be the result of a fermentation process within the stalk itself. This suggests the presence of a fungal symbiote similar to yeast within the stalk and the possible production of ethanol as a byproduct of this process, though a tissue sample will be necessary to confirm this. Shrill-sac production, meanwhile, seems to be a precise art. The pressurization, gas mix, and size of each shrill-sac can differ from stalk to stalk, meaning that warnings can be directed to particular colonies and even individual stalks if necessary. Okay, so yeah, it's gone. Oof. Oh. finally go. No distractions this time. Actually, it might be up. We'll see. It only gives me one, so I might as well just take it. I don't know if there's any point. Yeah, this is up. Come on. I think this is just the regular way I was going back before. There's a path to the... It was further up. Already here in the stock territory, so... Because the stock territory was like down to the... more closer to the right. Whereas the spore rigs were more up. I have to hurry up. I'm trying to remember because it was like the stocks were like over here, and then the spores were like up here. Like unless I go around, I'm not seeing any other place to go to. Maybe it's up this way. No, this might be the way to go to the... Yeah, it seems closer to the... Yeah, it's the rift. Because, yeah, the way station's right there. it was positioned. Like the way station's right here, and they were saying the spore eggs were like here, and the bloat stalks were like here. But the bloat stalks are already there, so it should be. It doesn't really show the cursor, does it? Does it show it now? Okay. Like the way station's right here, and the way it was showing it on the map was like spores here, and then bloat stalks here. The bloat stalks are already right here, just a couple paces away. But we're not really that far down. We're not really that far west. So it's kind of weird. Guess I'll just get some just to have them. I can always just throw them away. Can also test if using more for sampling means extra data. Yeah, it's going further down. Unless it's this way. Seems unlikely that the bloats are simply individually diseased stalks. Their growth patterns suggest a system, a process. Beyond these stalks, I can see a sheer ridge rising up to the north. This chalky covering melted away by the bloat. This rock has a dull metallic sheen, spectrums of light reflecting across its surface. North of here, an angular ridge ascends, cutting the shelf in two. The only way further north is across the rift to the east of here. Assuming this is the way to go, because this is going further up. It's the only real path. Hollow stones. Tucked into the side of this corroded rock, a pile of stones with worn holes sit in the sand. Within a hole, something glitters. Assuming these are the spore eggs. %40 animal, 20% egg. I don't even know what the heck that's supposed to mean. Weird. Well, how much do I have? I have 2 more. Then I have 3. Let's just go back. It seems like it doesn't really matter how much you put in. All right. Love you too. Good night. I already read that. Whatever. I don't know why it showed me that again. Especially since it all data logged already. Whatever. Spore catcher. Alright. Analysis of the spore catcher egg shows a strong correlation between the minerals it contains and the minerals present within the catcher's favored spores. It seems that through the spore stalks are able to affect the catcher's egg production, therefore controlling the volume, traits, and behaviors of catchers within any area of the reef. What the fuck? This is essentially like a fucking god. Like, so by changing a specific mineral composition, it can literally control what the species is even like. That's like insane. What the fuck? Well, not every egg production. Oh, volume, traits, and behaviors. In a sense, the stalks have domesticated the catchers, leaving the two intrinsically linked as species. The question of what the catchers provide the stalks remain. Do catchers serve a specific purpose, consuming unwanted or incorrectly configured spores, for example, or are they kept for other reasons? Could the catchers be kept by the stalks for their companionship and social use, just as humans keep pets? What do these things look like? Kind of look like... Honestly, this kind of looks like a strawberry. It kind of looks like a moth or like a bat type of thing. Siphon flaps, upper side. Like a weird jellyfish bat strawberry thing. I don't know what the fuck I'm looking at. Weird. Okay. Well. Okay, so that's why. It's the root, it's not the microbes. I'll just get the rest of it, I guess. Might as well. So it's a cave system, so I have to go down. So yeah, I got to where the spore scrapers were. Not the spore scrapers, the shell scrapers. Whatever the heck their name is. I know they have shells and they're... Stalk scraper. That's what they're called. I got one of the things and then I just left immediately because I didn't have space. So probably just keep going down that path. It was pretty straightforward. And then I could finally actually keep going the regular way. Well, I got the last two things that were right there. And then I'll keep going that way. Alright. Don't think it really does much of anything, but I'll just take it to take it. Western wall rises up towards the shallowest part of the reef, just meters below the surface of this planet-spanning ocean. Yeah, it seems like. And the cave is right here. Below the steep wall is a dark crescent-shaped sinkhole cuts into the shelf. Fallen rocks from the wall are strewn across the sand. World passage. The walls of the passage twist inward with thick veins of growth. We must be heading beneath the stalks. Thick bloated roots poke through the rock wall. Something pulses within them. It's a rare chance to sample the stalk root network. Thank goodness that was very straightforward. I might honestly take the microbial stuff. Could hurt predators if we need that. Finding a root sample from a reef bloat has brought with it the confirmation that reef bloats are not manufacturing spark colonies, instead modifying, metabolizing, and processing them. Analysis of the bloat root system has shown the presence of microbes at various stages of modification, including those that have been entirely detoxified and their rampant metabolism neutered. If all reef bloats are connected via this root system, then they may be part of a large-scale cleanup operation with the aim of eradicating these aggressive microbes. Reef bloats are not diseased stalks then, but powerful biological engines which are fueled by their local stalk colonies. The scale of this operation suggests that for the stalks, the spark microbes are a significant threat. So essentially they're like purposely taking in this poisonous stuff to like neutralize it, and they're like made to be able to deal with it. So I guess they like evolved. These specific ones evolved to be able to. They're essentially like the liver of the stalk colony. They take in these poisons to neutralize them. Interesting. Chitin seams. This is another one that kind of looks like a strawberry. Weird. Sensory stalks. Surprised she has like paper to draw this on. Well, maybe she has on paper and maybe this is all just digital. So I'm surprised she has anything to draw it on. So that's what it looks like when it blows up. It also kind of looks like an upside down tomato. Like that part is like the leaf. Weird. I don't know if that's on purpose or not. Okay. So you got a restock route. And there's another cave, so that should be straightforward. And then when there's a strong current, probably right next to each other, and then I could just go straight back. Try to at least get these two samples, and then depending how I feel, maybe I end. Protected pass. I might try to see if I can play. I think I'll try Five Nights at Freddy's. Then also try some. The End Is Nigh. I think I could maybe use the controller. I can at least grip it because I still have my 2 fingers. We'll see how effective it is. In shadow of these huge outcrops, this path leads toward the rift at the north edge of the reef and its fast-moving waters. Seeing an edge here, so I'm assuming this is probably not the way I want to go. Northern edge. From here, the reef descends into the unseen deep. Spores spiral in the fast-flowing water. What else lies out there? Yeah, that's just water. This side of the shelf is sliced at by the planet's oceanic currents. Look at those flecks of organic material. They're being cycled back into the reef's ecosystem, drifting from unseen places out in the ocean. Must be part of some vast process. You would think we'd ever understand the cycles of this ocean? Maybe one day. I hope so too. It's just so intimidating. Entire planet of life, and just us to study it. And it's like talking about the vastness of life, the ocean, understanding concepts, understanding processes, kind of the comparison of a single person versus the world, our place in it. Almost meaning of life type of thing. Can't run the ad. Split gullies. These gullies lead among the tall outcrops of the northern edge to the currents and open waters beyond. Okay. Let's make our way east to the source of that transponder signal. I don't know what else to expect. If the transponder is Mina's, There's some history between us, but I haven't seen her in years. Not since. Look, you don't need to worry about it. Let's just find her. Already some drama. And if you followed her, who knows how many light years into some unknown planet by yourself, clearly she matters to you. So it's obviously history. You're not going for some random acquaintance. She's either family, a lover, a best friend, like something along those lines. Obviously, you're not going for some random person you met at a fucking coffee shop or a fucking classmate you barely talk to. You know, or like a family friend that you weren't really close with. It's not. It's not something that. She doesn't seem like she's an insane person who just do something on a whim. Narrow gully. The walls here have been smoothed into soft ripples, the sign of a strong current descending from the north. Gully opening. Here the gully opens out onto one of the rifts, cutting deep into the bedrock of the reef. Let me go here. Assuming there's probably not much. This is probably the cave opening. So this is strong current, so this is probably the whatever the heck the other thing was. One was the root stock. And the other one was something else. I don't really remember what. These stocks block the gully, but also the strong currents behind them. Even if we clear them, those currents will still block our passage. So yeah. So I can't even get there yet. So I'm probably gonna need the suit or whatever. There, look. Cave entrance cut into the side of the rift. Should allow us to bypass the rift, although I'm not sure where we'll emerge. Hidden shelf protected by the sheer sides of the rift. This shelf leads down to a small cavern entrance to the reef wall. Rift edge. Sheer walls of the rift plunge into the dark water here, and rapid currents make passing through difficult, if not impossible. Okay, so we can't at all get those other two. Though the other one did seem like it was in the cave itself. So we'll see. The round mouth of the cave stretches away into the rock. Stalks hum quietly in the dark. Well, I guess we'll at least go through this cave, see where we'll end up. Unnatural cave. There's a strange evenness to the walls of this cave, almost as if it was a vast borehole drilled into the reef. I mean, I would assume Mina probably had some equipment she used. Stock patches. The stalks even seem to get down here. Perhaps they are less reliant on sunlight than I initially thought. Crossroads. We're deep in the rock now. What formed these hollowed out caverns with their strange undulating walls? Wonder how the stalks survive without sunlight. Maybe they are fed by the forest above. What do you think? I mean, if they have a network, they could share resources, so probably. Would make sense, a network of colonies tunneling through the shelf. Narrow passage. Cave starts to get tight here, and in the shadows ahead, stalks crowd the tunnel. Protecting a small underground colony, this tall stalk's signature coating of bubbles glints in the dark. Again. Okay, exposed roots. Cave-in has severed some of the sections of the stalk's root network, stretching down from the forest above. What can they tell us? Let me get that. Alright, I forgot. Fucking froze. Mesh of stalks. The stalks here are thick and intertwined underground in the stark light of the headlamps. They resemble brittle, oversized worms. Bright light from the east of this cavern is broken up by tall pillars, casting strips of light and dark across the smooth walls. It's kind of awkward. It is a nice ambience, like that it's super, like there's really no sound or music down here. Broken pillar. These pillars punctuate the cavern, stalks crowded around their bases. They support the vast weight of the reef above. What the heck is that thing? Sporing stalk. These domed stalks are pumping out clouds of short-lived spores. These stalks are filling the water with spores. We start logging information on them. They look like oversized mushrooms. Pulsing growth. These bloated creatures are pumping clouds of spores out into the water. Around them, stalk colonies rise out of the sand. It doesn't seem to hurt me, at least. These spores are different. The stalks nearby seem to be stimulated by them. Could these spores be used to make stalks extend, to bring them out of hiding? We just test them out on an attracted colony. Unlike other stalk spores which survive until they settle, the spores from these stalks dissolve moments after they are released. Thinning stalks. These stalks seem to be shriveling up. Is it because they are too exposed to the rift's withering currents? These sporing stalks seem to require very particular conditions to grow, seen so few elsewhere on the reef. These large growths seem to be sustaining this colony with their spores. Perhaps they carry nutrients, even chemical signals. Slong stalk sits quietly beside a dying colony. Soon there won't be anything left for it to protect from scavengers. Let's see. Seems to be correct. Seal the spore. The far side of the cavern narrows into darkness. I can feel the faint pulse of a distant current ahead. Okay. Current must have once run down this tunnel, scraping the walls into smooth lines. Now the stalks block the flow. The tunnel ahead is thick with stalks, scraping the ceiling with their rounded tips. Right. Light filters in through a large opening, making the spores drifting in the water glitter like sparks. Tucked behind this pillar, perhaps the stalk grew here as an early warning for predators coming through the cave mouth. Look, those stalks in the cave mouth, they are retracted. Perhaps if we can make them extend, they would block the current. Perhaps they would. Cave mouth ahead leaves this passage exposed to the full force of the northern current. Blocking it somehow will help us pass. They block the current. These spores encourage them to extend and fill the tunnel. With these soothe spores, we can control the stalks to our advantage. This will be useful. Then one of these grows, supporting a smaller colony at the cavern's edge. Is there logic to where they grow? A pattern? Somewhat doubt it, but there's a definite correlation between struggling stalk colonies and these sporing stalks. Are they helping support these colonies? Tucked into the rift wall, this shelf allows protection from the fast-flowing water cutting through the rock into the heart of the reef. Look, out in the rift, a retracted stalk colony. We can get them to extend, they'll provide shelter from the current. Not bad. Slowly getting more tools. Handful of stalks cling to the rift wall here, blown into spiraling shapes by the rushing currents. I haven't done Homestuck in a long time. I forgot how tiring talking for a long while is. I mean, granted, I'm not really even using a voice for this character. Just a tiny bit higher than my normal speaking voice. Spattered with spores, the walls here feels the full force of the current. The wall here feels the full force of the current. Perhaps it can be slowed upstream somehow. Even this close to the wall, the darkness of the deep rift is intimidating. A huge slit in the face of this world. How deep does it go? Surprised we're not just being thrown through. If the current can be slowed or navigated, this is the place to do it, where the rift narrows and a gap opens up on both sides. Okay. Current sliced down through the rift from the north here. Crossing is going to be difficult unless their flow can be slowed further up. Huge pillar sits out from the wall here, its top caked in retracted stalks. A golden garden waiting to emerge. Is this back where I was before? Because I just went around. Interesting. Anyways. Small opening in the wall provides little shelter from the howling rift, allowing some stalks to take up root here. I'll at least get out of the cave. We are across. Thank you, stalks. Oh, and thanks to you too. She's a very interesting character so far. I mean, she's a biologist, very interested in species and discoveries. I mean, she's a classic scientist. Interested by the unknown, interested by the stuff she doesn't understand, trying to figure stuff out. Trying to figure out how stuff works. A little bit of a dork. A little bit of a weirdo, like most scientists are. I'm not saying that is a bad thing. She just clearly, I mean, she went to an alien planet by herself. I think you're a bit of a strange person if you do that, even if it was for a person you care about a lot. That's a huge fucking choice to make. Like, we don't really know what the fuck is up with Earth. I mean, it could just be like fucking space dust right now, considering it's like 2160 something or whatever the fuck. No, not even. What does that say? 3,277? No, that doesn't make sense because the other log was like 2,200 and something. Those numbers might mean something else. Weird. But yeah, she's. Okay, here we go. She is an interesting person, so far at least. A circle of warm light shows this tunnel opens out onto the upper shelf of the East Reef. What lies above? Alright. Only 28 meters. What the heck is this? Stock canopy. These stalks are twisted together into a huge canopy. Incredible. They're pulsing as the pores across their surface close and open and close. The canopy is spectacular. I'll start logging observation. Let's see what we can find out about them. I almost didn't read that fully. Okay. Bright petals. These bright, wide petals appear to be photosynthetic plants. They float along stems, shifting and swaying in the water. These are beautiful plants, single petals shifting in sunlight. Let's start logging data on them. Blooming petals. These plant-like creatures seem unrelated to the reef stalks. Their soft petals waving on thin stems. Don't think I have enough space. Feels good to be out in the sunlight again. Let's head northeast along this finger of reef. The transponder is at the tip. While each plant seems to have a single wide petal, they group together, forming fields of blooms, all angled towards the sun. The fractured outcrops all around break up the worst of the northern current, protecting the sandy shelf. Stalk barrier. A colony of stalks has twisted itself tightly across this gap in the rocks. Could they be protecting something? Might as well get the second one. The petals seem to shimmer as they twist and open. It's difficult to tell if this is involuntary or part of the plant's own movement. Broken gully. The outcrops on the shelf are cut through with huge cracks as if they were shattered somehow. What could have done this? Where the rock shelf has fallen away into the rift, the roots of the canopy above have been exposed. We could sample them here. Considering this is the only part I can get here, I'll just throw it away. Stalks have grown across the gully, reconnecting these two huge pieces of rock that look like they must have once been one. Let's see. Is there a point of going this way? Towering canopy of woven stalks pulsates in the soft current. The sunlight slipping through the gaps in its branches. You said north, east. Oh, there's a way station like right there. There's really no need to be like freaking out or anything. The coloration of these canopies is much lighter than the other stalks. They glow pale yellow in the light of Gliese 667 cc's 3 suns. You have to say the entire fucking thing. Like, is there a Gliese 665 BB? Like, I don't. It's like saying Earth 223. Like, there's not another fucking Earth. What is the point of the fucking numbers and shit? Gliese is already a weird ass fucking name to begin with. And then you add fucking numbers and letters randomly like that. I mean, if I knew what it meant, I guess it would make more sense to me, but it just kind of seems like gibberish. On some petals, there is a thick clump of pollen on the lower part. I wonder how this is dispersed. Seems too heavy to float away. Excuse me. High up in the wide canopy, you could see that the stalks are twisted around strange ribbed growths. What are they holding up there? Shimmer blooms. White single petal plants. Going to name these plants shimmer blooms for the way they catch the sunlight. Wish I could share these discoveries with Mina. There's still so much to say. White single petal plants that come in a wide variety of hues. They appear to be primarily photosynthetic and produce a heavy, furry looking pollen. Shimmering field. Bright petals line this part of the reef, shimmering and swaying, parting easily as I pass among their delicate forms. Reef cap. If they're strong resemblance to terrestrial mushrooms, I'm going to call these reef caps. Domed mushroom-linked stalks, which appear to support struggling stalk colonies with a supply of special spores. Thriving colony. Fed by spores, shielding by a colony of stalks, this part of the reef seems to have fostered the ideal conditions for its own survival. Let me go forward first, just to make sure I don't need to... Is that another way station ahead? Mina must have built them all across the reef. In the center of the shelf is a beautiful clearing screened from currents and predators. I wonder if Mina set up a way station here. Let's go back. Let's see what was on the other side. I don't seem to need this. There's another part. Let me just start the ad. It's whatever. Nobody's here. Nobody's here. Okay, so I do need whatever. Guess I could see if maybe there's another way. I mean, the way station's right there, so it's not really a big deal. Unless there's a random blockage up ahead. This canopy has many gaps between its higher stalks, as if something has fallen out or been removed from it. In the scattered shadows of the golden canopies, knee-deep in shimmering petals, this way station sits silent. Okay, open up the terminal. See what data we can scrape from this place. Probably nothing good. Well, nothing useful. The log suggests Mina was using this as some kind of staging ground for expeditions over the drop-off. She was looking for something out in the ocean, something deep from the descents she logged here. Mina doesn't do things at random. The way station, the research base, this is calculated. It's like you're already 10 steps behind her. We barely even started. Let's get to that suit transponder. It isn't far from here. If we head straight north, the shelf's edge, it should be here. It should be there. Let's go. Let's go back first. No need to do anything crazy. That is so weird. Close analysis of stock root networks revealed something surprising. The root networks are in fact part of a symbiote, a different fungal species entirely, which exists within the stock bodies. This fungal symbiote provides a carbon exchange network which runs throughout the bedrock of the reef, connecting all colonies in a single web. The symbiote also produces the spores which the stocks use to communicate, where these spores are edited by the stocks themselves to act as reproductive agents, information carriers, and chemical delivery systems. The stocks are able to edit the genetic signatures of these spores and their parent species. Their intelligence and complexity must be way beyond what I previously theorized. Close analysis of stock spore language could reveal an entire corpus of communication, whether stock jokes, stock histories, or even stock literatures. Lichal growths, irising pores, chitin plate boundaries, reef stock dermal study, input pore, output pore. Very gross but interesting. Large domed stalks, which, like terrestrial mushrooms, release spores from gills on the other side of the cap. In the wider stock ecology, reef caps appear to play the role of emergency response, growing in areas the stock colonies are failing or heavily predated upon. proceeding to shower them with spores. However, these spores seem to differ from those released by other species of stock in that they quickly dissolve when expelled. Analyzing these spores is important to better understanding the reef cap's role. Are they reproductive spores tasked with adding newly seeded stocks to existing colonies, or nutrient spores intending to boost the health of dying or diseased individuals? Soothe spores, the name by which I have come to call the reef cap's spores, don't seem to be spores at all. Unlike the modified spores of other stocks, these particles don't have any reproductive capacity. Instead, they resemble endospores, dormant bacteria reduced to dried husks, which can survive for hundreds of years in toxic environments without nutrients. Endospores are incredibly tough and high in calcium, and when released by the reef caps, they dissolve and transfer this calcium to the surrounding environment, where it is absorbed by the local stocks. This windfall of calcium granted by the caps soothe spores seems to allow stocks to augment their internal signaling and toughen their membranes to protect from predators, allowing them to recover rapidly. But the question remains, how do the reef caps produce these endospores? Plantae novae, punctifolia, poor petals, shimmer blooms, coulter minae. So she named them after Mina. Shimmer blooms are single-petaled plants found primarily in the sheltered waters of the East Reef. As they produce pollen via, as well as photosynthesize, I have classified the visible portion of these plants as petals, though they could also be thought of as leaves, serving both functions simultaneously. Shimmer blooms can be green, like most terrestrial plants. However, they can also be found to be yellow, red, or purple in color. The image of a patch of blooms is a beautiful one, I'm assuming that's supposed to say. And as they shift in the soft currents, they often seem to shimmer. The lower part of their single petal features many small stamens, which produce a fluffy, clumped pollen. Analysis of this pollen may provide some insight into their life cycle. Laboratory analysis of shimmer bloom pollen reveals it to be a heavy, sticky substance atypical for waterborne distribution. Unlike in terrestrial plants, like seagrass, whose pollen is distributed by water currents and is therefore long and light, shimmer bloom's spherical, heavy pollen seems intended to resist distribution by current, and must instead be distributed by creatures who visit the blooms. The reason for this may be the shimmer bloom's tendency to grow on exposed shelves or pillars, which would risk lightweight, water-transported pollen being sucked into the deep ocean rather than being distributed to viable sites. By relying on creature transport, bloom pollen has a better chance of reaching another sunlit shelf or pillar. Yeah, okay. I could go back. And use the soothe spores to do more to get that. Let's get the transponder, then whatever dialogue and stuff. Save and quit out, and then see about doing some Five Nights at Freddy's. See how many nights I can last, and then check out some The End Is Nigh. See if I can even play it. properly. And then probably end. Many of the large rocks on the shelf, this outcrop has been split, creating a passage to the east, another to the north. Surrounded by shimmering petals, a pulsing stalk pumps out spores. These carbon-rich particles feed plants too. As the shattered edge of the reef curves away to the east, the currents fade and the static water grows warmer. Table stock. Name these table stocks after the table corals they remind me of. Look at my notes back at the base. Towering canopies of stalks entwined around webbed growths. They pulse as their spores automatically open and close. On the cover of this canopy, I can see a series of tall pillars out to the east, each one topped with a garden of unknown life. A strong current cuts across the east edge of the shelf with the turquoise haze of the open ocean stretching beyond. Yeah, of course not. So the sand suggests this passage leads to the reef edge and the open water beyond. The side of the finger feels exposed, but thanks to its current splitting outcrops, it remains in a bubble of calm. This tip of the shelf, the outcrops fall away to reveal an unrestricted view of the vast ocean. It's both terrifying and beautiful. See something at the edge. Is that the suit? Mina's suit, open, empty, and half sunk in his hand. Why would she leave it here? And more importantly, where did she go? It's definitely Mina's suit, but no Mina. Surely she's in... Okay, let's not jump to conclusions. I want to take a look at this. It can't have been here long. Most of it is still in good condition. How did it get out here? There's no evidence of injury, malfunction perhaps? What do you think? I mean, yeah, it could be messed up. But then where is she? Could she have just swum to the surface? Does she intend us to find it? Mina, what did you get yourself into here? It's better equipped than our suit, but the seals have started decaying. What's this? Mina has rigged up some kind of custom propulsion system, probably to deal with the currents. You can use this. We need a power source. It won't run off the suit system. Seems like it used some kind of microbial fuel cell. Just need to recreate it. You can use the microbial colony we sampled in the Western Reef. Okay, let's get this back to the base so I can take a better look. Mina, better not have done something stupid. Didn't come all the way out here to bury you. Yeah, I feel like that might happen. Let's go. Call for drone pickup. Like, from the beginning, I was like, what if she's just straight up dead? I feel like they might just do that. But, like, she finds her and then she dies right in front of her or some shit. Or she turns out to be, like, evil and doing some crazy shit. She did suggest that she fucked over Michael, which is this. Okay, ready to get back to work? Yeah. Great, because I've had a very productive few hours. Been working on that propulsion system. Used those 4 microbial samples to grow a new colony in the lab. Then transferred it to a secure containment capsule, nice and snug. Followed what I could from Mina's notes on building a microbial fuel cell. It's all loaded onto the suit. The MFC fed directly from our reserve oxygen supply. You just need to take the suit out for dive to test it. It's going to take plenty of oxygen to fuel the colony, so bring any samples that'll help out. Make sure not to take any that we haven't put through analysis on lab level first. I don't want to burn through hours of research material just to get a power boost. The propulsion system will let us pass through strong currents and move more quickly. We should be able to cut across that rift north of the way station and finally see what the bloom finally is. Ready when you are. Okay. Table stock, Callus canopium. Pale yellow, canopies formed from many stalks entwined together, which reach impressive heights. Table stalks are part of the reef's many interlocking species of stalks, though these individuals can only be found in the eastern reef. There they tower over the other creatures, providing dappled shade for the life that grows around them. Let's stop. One of the notable features of table stalks is the rhythmic opening and closing of their pores, which provides a steady flow of water beneath their canopies. This seems to be highly beneficial to the growth of other species, with most table stalks being surrounded by many types of stalks and other species entirely. Also notable are the ball-shaped growths of differing sizes, which sit high in the table stalk canopies. Sampling these might help us understand the table stalks better. So yeah, 2216. Mina's suit open to the ocean, empty. What has she done? I'm trying hard to reconcile the Mina I once knew with the evidence in front of me. When I met her on Kepler 62F, she was intense and quiet, but calculated, intelligent. She wasn't someone to take unnecessary risks. And like I was saying before, she mentioned something about Mina fucking over this company, Baiko. Exoplanet extraction. What exactly did she say? There's no way Baiko would have supplied it willingly after what she did to them. And considering whatever that means, she screwed them over and broke something, scammed them, didn't pay something shitty enough for the company to blacklist her. So she's clearly not not that Baiko is, considering how most of these space stuff goes, these companies are usually really scummy, exploitative, like seeing humans as expendable resources, but we don't really have proof of that. We just have proof that Mina did something fucked up enough for Baiko to blacklist her from their operations and not be willing to help her out. There's no proof that it's like she killed people or she did some horrible stuff, or else Ellery would be a kind of weirdo for chasing after her, still caring about her. She hasn't really made any notes talking like she did something really, really messed up, just decently bad. What did she call me out here for? So she fucked off and was like, hey, come follow me to this random planet. And then isn't even here to greet her. She wants someone to take unnecessary risks, to leap into the unknown. At first, I found her impossibly intimidating. Her experience working as a biologist far outstripped my own. Baiko brought me to the site as a consultant to examine her discoveries. but I felt like they went under examination. The base was much like this one, a smaller, older model sunk in a subglacial ocean. Someone might think, yeah, I figured. The way they were talking about it, it was kind of obvious they were together. That figures. Someone might think a relationship was inevitable given those intimate conditions, but it wasn't the base that brought me to her. It was that intensity. Over the few years since I keep reading forward and I keep reading those words instead of reading properly. Over the few years since I have tried not to dwell on what happened on Kepler 62F. Being here, living where she has lived, following her scattered steps, it's impossible not to remember. Seems kind of like a classic partners overshadow rules. One partner overshadows another, and almost, I mean, she said intimidating, but like, I feel like there's probably some jealousy there. She seems not prideful as a biologist, but like, usually if you specialize in something, especially in science, like you're going to the extreme, you're going to the maximum, you're trying to be a master of that to figure out, and especially going out in space, finding a world nobody else has known, finding alien life for the first time. That's like there's a certain level of risk involved and pride and stuff, and I don't know, I feel like there's definitely more than there's more than what's being said. Obviously, we don't have all the information. And still, my main two theories are that either Mina's dead or she's not a very good person. We will see. But that's probably it from me. Yeah, it's 4 hours. Yeah, let's see. Let me change. Let's see.